Take a few deep breaths. Move your body. Stretch your mind. Expand your consciousness. Be still within.
This is your co-host, Jane DeMent, Director of Women's Heritage Project, welcoming you to Creatrix Media Live, a roundtable discussion regarding women's spirituality, theology, philosophies, and values. Each give us an overview of what you do, how it inspires the feminine divine within each of us, and you can even define what that is for you.
Good morning, everyone. I'm very happy to be here. Thank you for the opportunity to share and to explore new avenues together as we continue to empower the divine feminine in all of our fellow goddesses. My name is Dr. Diva Verdun, and that is my real name. I get questioned about that a lot. It is on my driver's license. I speak actually publicly and privately to individuals to go to the core of the person, to empower them from within so that they're in a position to move in their lives without. So meaning that now they can live their power. I mean, truly live the experience of what life is all about. And to me, the word life is an acronym. LIFE stands for living in full expectancy, to live in the full expectancy of your highest and greatest good. And you can only do that if you know who you are. You have to go back to the core of the oneness of who you are, and that is where the power lives. That's where the real energy, the force, the empowerment comes from. So I don't like to refer to myself as a motivational speaker because to motivate someone, you have to be there with them holding their hand. And they're like, rah, rah, let's go, let's do it. But when you can empower a person from the core of their being to truly help them shift the negative thought processes to have a really aha moment, then that person becomes empowered so that they move on their own capabilities alone to process and to move into living in full expectancy of their highest and greatest good, to experience all of the wonderful things that life is really all about. Not just I got to go to the grind, I've got to cook the dinner, I've got to take care of the kids. It's more than just that. And if you can package it all and be in a position to really experience what life is really, really about, that's when the magic happens.
Oh, yes. I just watched a film last night with Will Smith, and he brings that out, that he keeps going to President Adams' speech about the Constitution, and that we are free to have the pursuit of happiness. And he struggles with understanding that. But that is exactly what you're saying. We have the divine right to know joy. And it's so beautiful. I love your acronyms.
I'd like to make a comment, though, on something that is a major point that we really need to focus on. It's not so much about having love as people want to know that they're lovable. Am I a lovable person? Can you love me? And that's what you hear a lot of women say. Why don't you love me? People want to know that they're lovable. And that is something that we need to teach and minister toward. If we can show a person why you're lovable from the womb. And the key is not that someone else has to love you. You have to love yourself with the understanding that I am lovable because I love myself.
Yes.
You're lovable from the womb.
Well, we had this conversation around another topic earlier, Anitra and I, about beauty. And I remember being in a workshop with a woman who was crying, and she never felt beautiful, or a better word would be lovable, because from the very beginning, her mother told her she was ugly.
Mm.
And, I mean, shame on any of us for making our children feel that way. I mean, if we go back to look at ancient cultures, and I'm talking about before patriarchy, women loved their bodies, loved who they were. It was as you said, Tanya, it was simple. It was because it was about other things than just that.
Mm.
Well, we've been groomed by the media, and that's what you have to understand, that plays a major part in how we personify and actually objectify what beauty is to us. And it's not just in our culture, I mean, because another thing that Tanya brought out is that it's in all cultures.
Right.
Because the Western society actually dictates what everyone else thinks is the standard for beauty. And this has caused a traumatic problem. And Jane, you said something that was another key regarding before patriarchy. Well, before patriarchy came along, we knew that we were the divine goddess. And when patriarchy came into place, that's when we became the scourge of the earth, because we were the Eve that ushered in the original fall of man. And that has been dictated to us for centuries, and it has now become the race consciousness of the societies that we live in. And so women automatically come here and are groomed to have low self-esteem from the womb,
right,
rather than us teaching our children that they're the goddess at the time that they were born.
Right.
Yes.
Oh.
Yes, and if there ever was a time that we need to hear that from phenomenal women like you all, it is now.
And there's something about once we get that aha moment and we love ourselves, or to coin a term, we're reborn, because now we're conscious of that love.
Exactly.
Part of what our conversation was earlier is that the Catholic Church, and I'm not putting down Catholics, I'm just saying that the Vatican put out a program, a pamphlet on, one of the things they said is that we use, quote unquote, that we use our beauty and we're seductive, and that's how we get these young people involved. And I thought, that's kind of glossing over. It's nice to know that we're seductive, but still.
See, that's part of the beauty of being female.
Right, exactly.
That's one of our gifts, okay, that we have, is the seductive part of us is not just a sexual thing.
Right.
We can be seductive in how we present a meal.
Right.
It makes it pleasing to the soul. And that's because that's just the special beauty of the feminine energy, is that seductive nature. And it doesn't mean that seductiveness is necessarily sexy. It's the sexual, I want to take you into the erotic part of me.
It inspires others.
Exactly. It's a special feminine energy that we have. Men do not have that.
Thank you. I say that all the time.
They can seduce us by, but they're not. They don't have that magic.
That's why we were honored. The magic comes out of women.
When you go back to the whole history of, now I grew up Catholic. I need to interject that. I did grow up Catholic.
I did too.
And in the Catholic
I wanted
Church,
to be a nun.
Well, I didn't go that far.
When I found out what nun meant.
Why can't I talk to God myself? Why do I have to be in the confessional telling you? Why can't I have direct access? Why do I need an intermediary? I didn't get that part. But, coming from the historical part of the Catholic Church, which has a tremendous amount of dogmatic power, we can control society, we can control the masses, we can control women's sexuality, which is what it's all about, controlling our sexuality, because we're the seductive, evil demon that comes to bring about the fall of, quote-unquote, man in the male gender. The whole of the universe is a womb.
Right.
Okay.
Absolutely.
The whole of the universe is a womb. So we're talking right now about the human female, which is only the microcosm in the macro. Okay. So we're only one element of the micro within this macro womb. Okay. So let's say that you have an idea, and that idea is to be a business person, okay? You want to have your own business, okay? That is the fetus, okay? That fetus is now within the womb of your mind, okay? If you have all of the negative energy going around you and you have this depression and you have fighting and backbiting and all of that other mess, there is no way that fetus can grow and become to produce what I want to produce. Well, if you have a dream, and I don't care if the dream is to get married. The dream could be to have a family. The dream could be to buy a house, to buy a car. I don't care what the dream is. But if you have a dream, the dream is inside of the womb, and you have to know what it is that you're going to put into that house so that it can produce the result that you want for it to be. This is way bigger than just, the human baby. You have to understand how we link into the whole universal mother.
Well, we tend to buy into the Hollywood idea that we were cave people. First of all, there were very few cave people, but putting that aside, caves were where we worshipped, and they were the womb.
Because you're going back to Mother Earth, yeah.
Right. Yes. Early people worshipped the womb or the underworld or the earth because the earth had a womb. It created life. And the only time we looked outward was when we understood that a universe was being created in the womb, and then we could project out into the heavens. And, of course, we all know that changed along the way. But but early people understood that. They understood metaphor. And women were as far as we can see, are the first to have taken that a step further because they understood that. They understood that there were a number of days between the moon and the sun. They started our educational system. They started giving wisdom. You had to be able to count. You had to have a language to teach the children that were coming up what they knew, the wisdom they knew. So we were the first educators. We were the first wisdom. And it all starts with the womb, including our wanting to go to heaven. Our description of heaven is the womb.
Now we have to convince our other parts of the world about this, because so many people still do not want to face the fact that we all came from a womb. Everything.
Well, I'd like to interject a correction on the terminology though that you just used. I understand what you're saying, but for the viewer, for the listener or the viewer that's listening to us, you said there's so many people that don't understand. The thing is that as teachers and way swords, ministers, we have to understand that when the student is ready, the teacher will arrive.
Right.
And everyone is operating at the level of their own experience exactly where they are supposed to be. There is nothing missing, nothing broken, nothing ever was. So if a person is operating at a lower awareness and they're in a carnal mindset and they're about survival, and if you understand Maslow's hierarchy of needs,
absolutely,
you understand how this works, okay? Because if a person is operating at a carnal level, it's about survival. It's about I have to have some place to stay. I have to have food to eat. I have to have warmth. They're in the survival mode, okay? Right. So you're not operating on a spiritual level when you're operating on survival. Because all you know is that you have to have food. I have to feed my kids, and I don't care what the law says. I'm going to get food to feed my kids. Okay, and if it means I go to jail for it, I'm going to feed my kids. So if the person is operating on that level, we can't say as Wayshores, I'm going to go and I'm going to teach that person how they're going to understand the divine feminine. That person is not ready.
Right.
Okay, so we have to understand that everyone has to live through their journey, that they're going through their process, which brings them into the magical unfoldment of what the awareness is that they need to move to the next level in their lives. And as they continue to march up Maslow's hierarchy of needs to the top of the pyramid, because it's depicted in a pyramid, when you march up the hierarchy of needs to the very top of the pyramid, this is when you become at the nirvanic state, where you now can move into the spiritual awareness of your highest and greatest good, because now you are aware. So as Wayshores, we have to understand how to teach to that person that is still at the survival level. How do we go to that person there?
I actually was a student of Kohlberg, and Kohlberg did his research on using Maslow and Piaget's development scale, as you're talking about. But the one thing that he discovered in testing humans is that even if they're at the state of nirvana, if they become, let's say, through an earthquake or whatever, that they can fall back. They can fall all the way back down to survival, because survival is first. And anybody that's in that nirvana, it's in nirvana, understands that to survive is first. But you never lose what you've gained. Now, I just want to put a caveat on that, because in my book I show that there's also one other level which is not in those schematics. And the reason it's not is they were men and they were viewing men. Women were an aside for them. So in women's thinking, we hear more, see more, smell more because of our menses. During that time of the month, everything's opened up. Whereas men, during their menses, they have a hormonal release. They become more logical. So we're talking about different experiences. So for women, even in survival, we're often still grounded in spirituality. So early people, because they venerated the woman, and the woman was a leader within their group, their choices might have been quite different from ours. It's like the American Indian who looked 200 years ahead and 200 years behind before they would make a change, because they knew it would affect those to come, and that the ancestors behind them had wisdom that they may not have yet. They may not be up the scale yet, but the ancestors probably were. So I think we need to keep that in mind. Yes, I agree that the teacher comes when you're ready, but if you put it out there in the pond, they just may go along with the ripple. They might be born into a thinking system or a home that is more nurturing and more evolved, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera, the ripple on the pond. So that's my caveat, what you just shared. You shared it beautifully, but I just wanted to put in a little caveat.
Well, it all goes back to what we were discussing about creating from the womb. If you understand, when you understand that every idea that you have is the seed, it's just the seed, but that idea has to go into the universal womb in order for the womb to produce for you the manifestation of the fruit. And in this analogy is the understanding of what the Trinity actually is. There are the three that are in the one: the conscious mind, which is the seed; the subconscious mind, which is the womb or the Holy Spirit; and the actual manifestation, which is the fruit, or the actual business, or the marriage, or the car, or the whatever it is that you are actually putting forth to actually produce. In order for you to actually manifest at the highest awareness, you have to really go to the core of who you are. And when you understand that you are the oneness, that everything that exists in the universe operates on this same principle of oneness. There is nothing that is separate from that. Nothing.
That's right.
Because
That's right.
the Creator is continuously manifesting new things out
That's
of
right.
Himself.
Yes.
Everything comes out of the One. Nothing is something that was created aside from that.
That's right.
If we go back
That's
to
true.
the baby,
That's
to the baby. The baby came from out of the One.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
It took two people to come together to make one.
That's right.
Two people came together. The sperm came to the egg and made one.
That's right.
It made one person. So everything comes out of this magic number of oneness.
Yes.
And when we can understand that, then that's when we can actually operate in the Trinity consciousness, understanding that there's the Father, the Son, and the Mother.
That's right.
Okay? And in traditional Catholic faith, it's the Father, the Son, and the Holy Ghost, but that's
Yes.
out of order. The order is the Father, the Holy Spirit, and then there is the Son, which is the manifestation.
Right.
So if you understand the Father is the seed, the Father is the consciousness, the Father is the plant
Yes.
that we want to create.
Yes.
We understand that the subconscious mind is the Holy Spirit, the
That's right.
womb, the ground, the one that creates whatever the seed is planted into it. It just gives
Yes.
forth. It brings
And is
it
the
forth.
female force.
Yes. That's
It
right.
is the
Female force, yes.
It is
Right.
the female force. And then the third part is the manifestation, the fruit,
That's right.
the sun, the manifestation.
Yes.
Well, I love your mind is incredible. I just love how you the visualization of all that. Well,
Yes,
Anitra,
I
do you
see
have
it.
anything to add before we open it up? I feel like we're over our time. We need to let our
I did have something that I did want to add. You had one of the questions that you sent out to us. We didn't get a chance to actually expound on, but I did want to say something to that effect.
Okay.
And it was, you said, do you feel that your work is a form of magic?
Yeah, I thought I didn't ask it because I thought we covered it, but go ahead. Go right in there.
But for the listener, I would like to actually expound on that just a little bit because of the audience that we're actually speaking to. And yes, it is. If you actually take the word magic and you actually look at the definition of it, it says it's the art of producing a desired effect or result through the use of an incantation or various other techniques that presumably assume human control of the supernatural agencies of the focus of nature.
Yes.
So,
Right. Yeah.
So, yes, it is magic. It is a magic to be able to go to someone and to share with them the information that shifts their conscious awareness of who they are so they understand that they are the oneness. It's a magic. And so, yes, your work, Jane, is a magic. Anitra's work is a magic. You know, Tanya's work is magic. Because what we're doing is we're sharing the magic of who we are as the divine feminine. So, yes, the answer to that is yes.
And I'll just add something quickly on magic.
Mm-hmm.
When I looked at the word magic, and it's spelled MAGIC, and I said, MAGIC.
MAGIC.
It's a nice acronym, yeah. What Gloria Vernon down here, she defines it much like you do, Verdun, but she spells that magic with, it's MAGICK, and magic without the K is the practice of illusion. So I just want to throw that in. It seems to be very important in the languaging today. So, and I just want to give a shout out to the chat room. Anybody that has a question, please let us know. Okay, so
Darlene's on the line.
Hi, Darlene.
Hi. Oh, I've just heard some spectacular stuff here. I just tuned in and caught Dr. Verdun, and I am just totally with you. I mean, I got chills when you're speaking that truth about the oneness. Beautiful to have it spoken out loud. I'm totally with you. Beautiful. Wonderful.
Hello, Darlene.
Hello.
Arlene has a wonderful children's book that's just coming out, and her character, it's a little girl who is...
it's all about that.
Self-empowerment.
It's all about what you spoke about.
Well, I just like everyone to just settle down and just, go into that quiet, peaceful place that you find within, and just touch that and settle within it and feel it. Just feel the steel. Feel the peace. Feel the being. Feel you. I just know that right now in the infinite power that is the most high consciousness of our infinite creator, that this power is resonant within each and every one of you right now. And that as you touch this power and know this power and understand that this power is you, as you, operates as you, that all that exists in the universe right now is this oneness, this peace, this knowing, and that all of this is you in manifestation. I just know that right now that you are experiencing healing in every part of your all-knowing being, in your finances, in your family, in your health, in your relationships. You're experiencing a healing as it moves through you right now. I just know that right now, in this moment, that there is a peace that surpasses all understanding. And that in this peace, there's the greatest joy. Because you know and you realize that all that exists is the oneness of all life, living in full expectancy of the highest and greatest good, which is yours by divine birthright. Know it. Feel it. Yeah. Be it. And right now in this moment, explode into the composition of your being and live